Be Ainge to inbound for the Riders. And a timeout is called by Solent head coach CJ Lee. Game currently at Riders 46, Solent 63, starting to extend their lead now, and the experience starting to really shine through. Six minutes 11 left to play in the third quarter.
I think Solent have done a good job adjusting defensively to take away any early penetrations, and Riders are just struggling a little bit to find another offensive threat.
Yeah, the only offense for the Riders really coming from Ainge and Hicken, as we were saying earlier on. And if you take those two out of the game, struggling elsewhere across the board. Katie Yanazuska with 6 for the Riders. Molly James with 7. The other end, Velke, Kwiatkowski, and Endine combining for 37 of the 63 of Solent's points.
I think Katie's been fairly tentative so far throughout this matchup, but she's someone that's also been with us in practice with the WBBL, and she's become more physical, gained more experience, and so I hope as the season progresses, she'll take that confidence into games like this.
Ainge has it, finds James. Cox with the up and under.
That was a great take, great finish by her. It's contributions like that that will make a difference in this game at the moment. Take some pressure off Ainge and Hicken.
Cox comes up with a rebound for the Riders. It's going to look to push the pace at the other end, going coast to coast. Finds Yanazuska, short corner 2, in and out, and it's rebounded by Karpova. Karpova straight up the floor, finds Endine. Just can't quite get it to go.
But still, Solent are having easy looks in transition, running that middle lane that we talked about earlier in the game. Their bigs are able to get into the paint early without being bumped, which is great for them.
Ainge has it, comes off the screen from Cox, pulls up at the elbow, no good. Rebounded by Meyer. Velke finds Meyer at the top of the key, hands it back off, comes off the screen, stops, pops, gets it to drop.
Looks like Riders might have been shown a zone just then.
James drives baseline, lane cut off. Solent swarming, any penetration now from the Riders. And jump ball called.
I mean, it's a good decision by Molly there to be aggressive, but as you get into the paint, you've got to have composure and try and locate cutters and shooters. We had a couple early backdoor cuts by Hannah Bird. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. We're a little bit stagnant offensively for the Riders.
Sasha Okoye inbounds to Yanazuska, finds Morris for 3. Morris gets the 3 to go, and that'll be a welcome sign for the Loughborough Riders. Cop over for 3.
Good vision there from Morris, picking up the floor to Casey. That's a great block by Maya.
A baseline ball for the Riders. James has it up high on the perimeter, guarded by Karpova. Gets into a dribble series, shot clock down to 7, penetrates and a foul called. And it's going to be a blocking foul called on Christina Karpova.
But Solent again collapsing into the paint. They had 3 people Molly is showing up for that. Got to do a better job of not bailing her out. Make her make the difficult finish.
James splits her free throws, trims the Kestrels lead to 13.
Riders applying a little bit of pressure here, trying to slow down their break, trying to disrupt their offense a little bit. But Solent are still able to find easy open shots.
Rebound for Katie Januska, tries to push the pace over the top to James, but can't get it to go. And they're possessions that when you're trailing by 13 in double digits, you want to try and chip away. Trying to maximize every possession that you can get.
I think that's something that comes with maturity, understanding the situation of the game that you're in and understanding whether it's worth taking that risk and throwing that pass or maybe pulling it back and trying to run something and get a good shot. That's a great three. Another one, we've got to recognize that she's a shooter for the Riders.
Karpova hitting her first long-range bomb of the game, extends the lead to 16 for Kestrels. Januska called for an offensive foul at the other end as Andrea Krakowski beats her to the spot, takes the contact. Karpova, another one. Can't go back to back. If it hits the wire, that means it's out of bounds. And so it'll be a Riders ball from the side. Alicia Jackson coming back into the game. Andrea Krakowski heading to the bench to take a breather. 3 minutes 31 left to play in the third quarter. 52 for the Riders, 68 to the Solent Kestrels.
Solent showing a zone press here, looking to change things up a little bit.
Bird hesitates, drives into all the bodies, finds Lakoya outside for three. And the lead now 13 for the Kestrels.
And that's great from the Riders. I think they need to continue to understand that they're going to get into the paint, but not to be able to score. They need to find the extra pass, locate shooters, and have the confidence to shoot the ball.
And a stop at the other end, and now what they're going to want to do is try and maximize this possession. Those dead ball moments where Kestrels aren't getting any sort of look. You really want to chip away. James has it, pulls up for two, short, and an apologetic wave towards coach Antonio Quintero in his debut season with the Riders, assisting with the WBBL team and then head coach in WNBL Division 1. There's another dead ball turnover for Solent. Just going to want to try and regather themselves ever so slightly.
An opportunity here for Riders though. Try and slowly chip away at that lead, come back in the game. They've got to make good decisions offensively. And that's a great steal.
Endine at the other end finds Karpova, short corner two, short. Cox just can't corral the rebound. Comes back to Endine. Wild shot. Morris comes up with it. Coach Quintero wanting his team to really push up the other end of the floor. Cox with a tough finish through contact and has a chance with the free throw to trim the lead to 10.
I think when Cox really uses her size advantage and length on the break, she does a great job of scoring and really causing issues for the defense in transition.
Cox does convert the free throw, so the Riders now trailing by 10, chipping away at that Solent lead. Biggest lead of the game for Solent was 17, and another dead ball turnover. Solent Kestrels just looking ever so slightly flustered. The Riders stepping up their defensive pressure slightly. And Solent trying to answer with the press. There's a foul called there. That one's going to go Christina Velke. Her third foul of the game, and third team foul for the Kestrels. A couple more and they'll be in the penalty. Morris catches up high, guarded by Jackson, steps back, doesn't get the friendly roll, but Sasha Lakoya is in there for a free throw. And another foul called on the baseline. It's going to go on Erica Meyer. Both teams now 4 team fouls. So next one for both will put them in the penalty. And for the Riders, you want to be trying to get to the free throw line to chip away at this lead. Bird thinks about the shot, penetrates inside. Another wild shot once they get into the paint.
I feel like that might be our issue at the moment with the Riders is they have the wide open 3, they think about it, and then they end up with a shot that's not necessarily better.
Bird goes coast to coast, lead down to 8.
That was a big defensive stop right there.
Popova has it, finds Endine. Endine penetrates into the paint, tries to find Mayer, no good, and Morris comes up with it again. And there's a 3v1 for the Riders. Lakoya finds James. James gets the 2 to go, and it's a 6-point ball game all of a sudden. The Riders 1-3-1 press, just causing Solent all sorts of trouble. All 4 players for the Riders at the minute outside the perimeter. Jackson has it all the time in the world, turns down the shot, finds Jarju, kicks out to Karpova, shot clock down to 3. Endine has to throw up the shot, it's blocked, and that's a shot clock violation. So 5 consecutive stops for the Riders.
Coach Lee understandably not happy with that situation. Seems the youngsters have them a little frazzled with the zone press.
That's what you're going to want heading into the end of the third quarter as Hicken with the give and go with Cox, and it's a 4-point ball game.
Straight off the bench. That's the energy that you need.
Foul called on Sasha Lakoya. That'll be team fouls. So Christina Karpova will head to the free throw line. And head coach CJ Lee is understandably frustrated with his team, struggling to break down the zone press from the Riders.
Doesn't seem like anyone from Solent wants to step up and take responsibility at the moment, whereas earlier in the game you had people leading at different points. It feels very much like everyone's passing the rock, if you will. It seems like they might need to regroup, talk about it, and show the level of maturity that they did in the first half.
And they're going to get an opportunity in about 20 seconds time, but before that the Riders are going to want to find one good possession to trim into that lead as Hicken goes up and under and gets fouled. And whilst yes, you want to be at the free throw line, ideally you want to try and take a little bit more time off of the clock, not give Solent an opportunity to get a good offensive possession. And a couple of subs going to be coming in for the defensive possession as Grizzali and Ainge check back in. Ainge will be coming in for Hicken after she shot the free throws. Makes the first, makes it a 4-point ball game. And makes the second, so trims it to a 1-possession game. And there's that sub as Hicken heads to the bench and Ainge checks in. And that's exactly what you wanted to avoid if you're the Riders, as Safi Yarju goes straight to the basket. Ainge with a full court heave early, almost gets it to go. She had way more time on the clock than she thought there.
That'd be the second one of the day if she had hit that with Holly Winterburn doing something similar in our game earlier with the WBL.
And that one already all over social media as well.
Right.
Big win for you guys earlier in the WBL Cup versus Manchester. What's your thoughts and reflections on that game?
It was a pretty scrappy start from both teams, actually. I think I looked up and it wasn't until sort of 4 minutes to go in the first, the score was still sort of 2-1 or 3-1, something very low scoring. So, but like we mentioned earlier, I think it's difficult with the scenario that we face at the moment and the challenges that we face. It's very unique, and it's going to be a very unique season. Manchester had discussed that it was their first outing and as a team collectively together, so it's very difficult for teams right now, so we'll see. So
at the end of 3 quarters, the Riders trailing by 5, having led by 10 in the first quarter. Solent's biggest lead of the game was 17, but the Riders coming alive towards the back end of that quarter. Hicken pacing the Riders with 19 points personal in just 22 minutes of action as well.
So what do you think that they're discussing now with Coach Lee and Solent?
Just want to get composed. They don't need to rush to try and break the Riders' press. The Riders are being so aggressive in the 1-3-1 press that they're actually, we saw a couple of times, they ended up with 4 players above the green line for the volleyball court and only 1 player protecting the paint, but with 3 offensive players from the Solent side spotting up around the perimeter. So they can just compose themselves, use the release dribble to get out of the pressure and then hit ahead. They're going to have advantages all over the floor and easy opportunities to score. So if I was taking that time out, that's what I'd be saying. But
well, let's see.
Let's see what they come out and do. On the other end, for the Riders, they're going to be talking about, we want much of the same. We're doing a good job with the pressure. Let's not try and give up easy opportunities, but where we can do, we want to force dead ball turnovers, try and take the ball out of bounds and then get into a half-court set. Or if we can get a live ball turnover, we can run down the other end and get an easy score for 2.
I think that's key for us. We're young. We need to keep the pace up, to push them offensively. Look to score a little more in transition.
De Stefano with the ball, and there's a turnover straight away from the Riders defense. Ainge has it, finds Hicken. Hicken with all the time and space. Front rim, no good. Rebounded by Endine.
That's a great run. Great deflection there by Robin.
Ainge has it now, heads into the paint. Lefty scoop is good, and it's a 3-point ball game again. Riders chipping away. And there's another steal for the Riders. And you've got to think that there might be an early timeout coming for the start of this 4th quarter as Hannah Bird knocks down the free throw jumper. And it's a 1-point ball game. And there's Jackson inside.
That's something that we saw early in the first half from Riders, not running back, not locating and picking up in transition. And Solent are very well coached. They have their bigs running down the middle. And so it's something they can exploit from the Riders.
Jackson at the line, long on the free throw. She's going to have to take it again. The Riders a little bit early for the defensive rebound. So Alicia Jackson will get a second opportunity at the free throw. Can't get that one to go either, and it's a rebound for Ainge. Ahead to Hicken on the perimeter. Ainge threads the needle to Cox inside, and it's a 1-point ball game again. Riders trapping on the perimeter. Ainge comes up with the ball. Ainge will go down the other end, stripped, and it'll be a Loughborough Riders possession from the baseline.
Good defense there by Endine. Interesting decision there by Ainge to throw it off Solent.
Ainge finds Katie Janaszewska. Ainge in the corner, drives middle, driving lane, taken away by Christina Velke. Velke ahead to Endine. Endine into the paint. Tough finish through contact for Faye Endine.
And that's what we talked a little bit about earlier. Transitioning from perhaps a turnover or a poor shot offensively, you don't have time to have a mental lapse. You have to get back.
Hicken throws the ball away under pressure. Both teams going full court defensive pressure, forcing each team into turnovers to try and get some sort of foothold in this game. Ainge to inbound, finds Bird. Ainge over the top to Bird. Bird just manages to come up with it, but can't keep it in bounds to find Casey Cox.
The idea to run is not a bad one. It's just we need to execute the passes and make sure that we're spaced in transition.
Ainge inside, goes up and under, can't get it to go, rebounded by Jackson. Velky pushes the pace down the other end, goes straight by Cox in the paint for 2, and it's a 5-point lead for the Kestrels.
It's a good aggressive take by her, something that we like to see a little bit more of.
Ainge finds Cox out on the perimeter. Cox for 2, no good. Rebounded by Jackson. Dean has it. Inside to Meyer, blocked by Cox, and a foul is called. A foul is called by the trail referee rather than the baseline referee. So
seems like she put her hand on her back. The block seemed clean, but the foul with the other hand, unfortunately. But again, their bigs are alone in the paint, and we didn't identify.
Meyer gets the first to go. 6-point lead now for the Kestrels. 7.5 minutes left to play in the opener, season opener for the Loughborough Riders. 3rd game for the Solent Kestrels. Meyer gets the friendly roll on the second. And then the deflection as well, with Endine coming up with it, and a foul is called. Foul's going to go on, I think, number 9, Hannah Bird, for the reach, and it is. That's her 4th of the game. Velky with no driving lane, nowhere to go. Comes back out, manages to move the defense, can't get a shot up though. Teddy Anazuska comes up with a loose ball. Ahead to Cox, that's a nice pass for Cox, but she just couldn't quite get her footwork right. And then Velky's heading down the other end. Finds Meyer up high. Time and space, but doesn't want to think about the shot. Endine comes up with it. Can't thread the pass inside. Velky stops at the elbow and it's no good. But Jackson comes up with the offensive board. And that's a tough defensive possession for the Riders. And that's even worse as they turn it back over after the score. And now all of a sudden, the Solent lead is up to 11 after the Riders had trimmed it to just 1. Bird blocked inside, comes up and blocked again. That time there's a foul. And after the Riders had trimmed it to 1 within 30 seconds of the 4th quarter starting, 3 minutes later, it's an 11-point ball game.
I think the biggest lesson here is not compounding your mistakes. So obviously we had a bad possession defensively. They had an offensive rebound and a quick, easy putback, but then you've got to be sure to take care of the ball and value the ball going into the next possession, because that second score is what really hurts, and I think it's what really aggravates coaches in my experience.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm also surprised we didn't see a timeout to try and stop the bleeding there, but with only 2 timeouts remaining, no coach Antonio Quintero.
I think we might see one soon.
They'll try and save this timeout, and that's criminal for a turnover from Molly James as she stepped on the baseline for the inbound. And it's inbound to Velky. Finds De Stefano into the paint, gets the lefty 2 up, and there's that timeout. But you have to wonder, with them now trailing by 13 after only trailing by 1, is it too little too late?
I think Solent are doing a great job of exploiting Riders' gaps defensively and mental lapses. As a lot of the time they're just finding people that are unguarded.
87-74, Solent lead. 6:10 left to play in the ball game.
I think if Riders want any chance at this game, they're going to have to bring that same intensity they did at the beginning of the quarter and look to really turn the heat up and put some pressure on Solent's offense, because right now it's way too easy for them to score.
Velky for Solent now up to 21 points, 4 rebounds, with an even bigger 11 assists for Christina Velky. So not only is she putting the ball in the basket at a pretty high rate, 11 assists for her as well. That's her with an efficiency of 30. It's going to put her in the conversation for player and team of the week for the Solent Kestrels, especially if they can come away with the dub today.
No, absolutely, and she's got great recognition for understanding when, you know, she can create for herself and when she should create for other people, and I think that's great as a guard. Solent have come out in a press, looking to trap.
Yeah, Zuzka trying to hit ahead to James, just manages to come up with the ball and it goes off the foot of De Stefano.
Molly James arguing for her own sake there. A bit of a confusion.
Katie Yanazuska up high, finds Cox. Cox to James. James drives baseline.
That's a
Can't
great
quite
take.
get the shot up. De Stefano can't gather the rebound, just losing it on the baseline. So it'll be another opportunity for the Riders to trim into the lead. Cox thinks about the three, turns it down. That's a travel. She just couldn't find the pass, but hung on to the ball for too long. It's going to be the 22nd turnover for the Riders.
I think that's critical. That's going to be the decision maker in this game, unfortunately. Taking care of the ball, value in the ball.
Especially when you look at the other end, and Solent have scored 27 points, make that 29 off of those turnovers.
Absolutely.
And that's a third of their points in the ball game. You only have to trim that in half, and it is a very different game.
I think again that comes with maturity and the difference in the two teams.
Endine loses the ball. Katie Yanazuska comes up with it ahead to James. James steps back for two, takes the tougher shot. Can't get it dropped. Endine has it on the perimeter inside to Maya. Jackson with the high post flash. Maya decides to go herself. It's a tough move inside from Erica Maya.
That's a great move by her, and it seems like she's really settled into the game as the game's gone on.
Sasha Lakoya out on the perimeter for the Riders now. Solent showing zone, making it difficult for the Riders to get anything offensively. Just trying to put the final nail in the coffin for the game. As Endine hits ahead to De Stefano, finds Velke, back to De Stefano, inside to Maya. And it's almost a couple of passes too many for Solent. Shot clock down to 7 for Solent. They're going to have to get a shot up. It's stripped away. And the Riders look to run with Sasha Lakoya at the other end for two. In and out. And Lakoya comes up with her own offensive rebound. Gets behind the three-point line, pulls it, no good. And rebounded by Velke. Velke going from left to right, finds Endine on the perimeter, guarded by Bird. Penetrates driving lane, cut off by Yanazuska. Kicks back out to Velke, fouled but passes. So it'll be a side out for Solent Kestrels. Foul's going to go on number 4, Sasha Lakoya. And a couple of subs for the Riders. There's coming into the game Taylor Lambert along with Eamon Morris. And we're going to have a timeout for the Solent Kestrels with a 17-point lead. Just under 4 minutes left to play. And the story of the game really has been those points off turnovers. And you add into that Solent have had 48 points in the paint, showing that they have that marginal size advantage to maximize that inside. But you also have to just take a look at their I was going to say take a look at their fast break points, but actually the Riders are leading in the fast break points at 16-12, so doing a pretty good job there.
Yeah, I think the point of contention really is turnovers in this game for the Riders. Composure is something that they're still struggling to find offensively. And I think it's a great thing to be aggressive offensively and want to take the ball to the hoop. but sometimes you've got to have a little bit more patience when you get there. And Solent have done a great job across the course of the game of really packing the paint defensively. So riders really need to recognize that and be moving offensively, back cuts, be open on the 3-point line, be ready to shoot the ball with confidence. We've had a couple people today that have caught the ball and second guessed it. You really got to let it fly and deal with the consequences later.
Definitely a shooter's mentality. And trading by 17 as Maya gets the easy pass and within half a second is fouled going up, so she'll head to the line and shoot 2.
I mean, what do you do in that situation when you're undersized and you've got a big cutting at you?
It's tough. The riders are massively undersized at the moment compared to the Kestrels.
I think you've got to bump. You've got to do your best to, and if the referee calls it for a foul, then at least you can turn to your coach and show that you're trying.
So Maya at the line to shoot 2. Back rims on the first. Maya with 12 points off the bench for the Kestrels. Maya scoring reserve for them, but doesn't make on either of her free throws. Now with Hicken pushing the pace, looks inside to
Great give and
Januska
go.
and just can't get it to go.
Those are the ones that are pretty painful when you're looking to pull away.
Ending down at the other end for 3, can't get it to go. Rebounded by De Stefano. Ending again with an easy driving lane, but no good. Comes up with her own rebound somehow. Jackson, high post, finds Velke. Velke for 3. No good. Rebounded by Hicken. And again, the riders are still looking to push the pace. As the Solent defense splits like the Red Sea, and Erin Hicken goes straight down the middle for an easy 2. Ending out on the perimeter for 3. Finds Velke. Driving baseline. Nice pass to Maya. Ending into the paint. Kicks back out to Velke. Shot clock down to 5. Maya goes up and is fouled again inside.
That's something they've really got to look to shut down. They're really using their size advantage. We got to look to collapse on them and force them into a second rotation.
Maya line gets the first to drop this time. Makes her 5 for 10 from the line for the game. And in true 50% fashion, splits the free throws. Velke comes down with the offensive board though. And at this stage now, the riders just look a little demoralized, struggling to get into any sort of rhythm, struggling to get any sort of offensive board. And the shot clock going off almost confuses Taylor Lambert, but the riders go down the other end with Katie Januska.
And that's a great push from her. That's something that I wanted to see more of in this game. But like I said, it's an early debut for her with the women's team. And so I'm sure as she gets more comfortable, we'll see her really flourish.
Morris comes up with the rebound. Finds Hicken up high, penetrates straight down the middle of the floor again. And that's a trademark move for Erin Hicken, going straight down the middle of the floor to that lefty scoop layup almost.
And that's 25 points that she has now. So she's relentlessly been pushing the ball to the rack, and you can't be disappointed with that as a coach.
Yeah, 20 points to go along with 6 rebounds and 4 assists. If it wasn't for a few turnovers, she'd be on pace to be challenging the sort of efficiency that we've seen from the other end with Christina Velke. Some other standout performances. Hannah Bird with 12 off the bench for the Riders women. Then over on the other side of the floor, it's been that tale as we were talking earlier about Velke, Kukowski, and Dean. And then Erica Meyer coming in off the bench.
Really impressed by Meyer in this game.
Both teams retaking the floor. Just under 2 minutes left to play in NBL Division 1 Women League action. Riders with their first league game.
I'll tell you one thing that you notice with games now, without a crowd, you can definitely hear whether the defense are talking or not. There's no way of hiding behind it. We're not in an arena with a lot of fans, so when the defense decides to step up and communicate, it definitely makes a difference.
Hicking comes up with the ball, pushes ahead. Erin Hicking going coast to coast, and a foul is called. And Erin Hicking is in scoring mode right now, trying to do everything she can with just a little over 90 seconds left to play to claw her team back into the ball game.
I think if you're Solent, you've got to look to stop the ball early there, and you've got to try and get her to her right hand.
First one is good, takes her to 26-point personal. No good on the second, but I wouldn't put it past her finishing with 30 in the game, the way she's finishing off this fourth quarter.
It's definitely possible.
Stefano turns down the shot, just trying to take some time off the game clock. It's wide open in the corner, but want to maximize the shot clock as much as they can do. Velke this time pulls up, short two, it's good.
Lovely pull up.
And Hicking again, looking to split the defenders, no good. Velke comes up with the loose ball.
Great hustle.
Stefano again turning down the jumper, and that's that kind of vet know-how that they have on that Solent team to just know when to pick their moment.
I guess they're looking for high percentage shots right now.
And the shot clock down to 6. Maya has it on the high post. Finds Stefano, shoots this one. 3 is good. And that'll be the final nail in the coffin for the Solent Kestrels, up 16 now. As Lakoya turns it out of bounds, looking for Grudzali.
I think these are moments that define teams, right? Because, you know, riders don't have an opportunity to come back in the game right now, but they can decide how they're going to finish it. And so it comes down to character at this point. If they want to continue playing, or they want to allow Solent to just move the ball around freely, which seems like they're very happy to do at the moment.
Foul call. Everyone's going to go on Sasha Lakoya. And that's her 5th, so she'll have to head to the bench. And coming into the game, Imogen here. So Kukowski at the line makes the first. Okay, misses the second, so Solent sit on 98.
Erin looking to go for 30 still. Goes for a screen.
Morris inside, turns, pops, 2 is good.
I love the composure that Morris shows. Something I think the rest of the team need to embrace a little bit. Solent still continue to move the ball around, get an easy look underneath.
No good inside, and that'll be the end of the game. So the Loughborough Riders 83, Solent Kestrels 98. Final tail on the tape with the stats from the game. Erin Hicking pacing the Riders with 26, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. At the other end, Christina Velke with 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 12 assists. Huge 12 assists from her to help pace the Solent Kestrels to their second win of the season. Drops the Riders down to 0-1 in their first game. But from all of us here at Loughborough Basketball, from myself, Liam Jefferson, and my co-commentator, Christina Gaskin, it's a massive thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you back on another live stream from Loughborough in the coming future. So have a good night, and hopefully see you soon.